Welcome back to The Explainer. So, today we are diving into something that literally impacts every single one of us, those invisible communication hurdles that just completely trip us up in our most important relationships. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're trying your absolute hardest to show someone you care, and yet somehow the message just completely misses the mark. Well, today we're pulling some pretty incredible insights from a text called 12 Steps to a Good Life. Specifically, we're going to zoom right in on a fascinating framework they cover called the five love languages. Our core goal here is to figure out exactly how using these specific languages can help us totally bypass those stubborn communication barriers and ultimately significantly deepen our intimate bonds.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the relationship reality check, then move into the actual framework of the five love languages, explore how we're bypassing communication barriers, and wrap it all up with navigating friction with radar. Let's get right into it.
All right, first up, the relationship reality check.
To really understand where things go wrong, we have to take a hard look at the unrealistic expectations we actually bring into our relationships. The source hits us with this absolutely incredible quote. Expectations in relationships are just resentments waiting to happen. Just think about that for a second. It really forces us to look in the mirror. A lot of the time, the real issue isn't what our partner is actually doing, it's what we silently expected them to be doing. When we hold on to these super rigid expectations of how a partner should behave, we're basically just setting traps for them. We're hoping they perfectly follow this script we wrote in our heads, and when they inevitably go off script, well, that reads straight to a toxic dynamic. They're doomed to fail, and we are doomed to just be perpetually disappointed and resentful.
And that brings us to a really fascinating concept from the text. It's called the magical other. So, this is the mythic partner we project all our inner archetypes onto, basically expecting them to perfectly fulfill all of our hidden desires. This happens a lot, right? Especially in those early stages of dating, we kind of believe our partner can literally read our minds and anticipate our every need without us saying a word. But in long-term reality, instead of seeing the real, flawed, beautifully complex human actually sitting across from us, we overlay them with this impossible mythic standard. We expect them to save us, complete us, and know exactly what we want 24/7. And when they can't do the impossible, because, nobody can, communication just totally breaks down.
Moving right along to section 2, the five love languages. So, the big question, how do we stop projecting and actually start connecting? Well, the source introduces this massive paradigm shift. It turns out affection isn't just a monolithic, one-size-fits-all thing. It's actually expressed and received in five very distinct ways: words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. The whole idea here is that by identifying your partner's specific language out of these five, you can fundamentally transform your relationship. You stop guessing what might make them feel loved, and you start knowing for sure. Let's break down what each of these actually looks like in daily life. Let's kick it off with words of affirmation. This one is all about expressing love by offering verbal compliments, appreciation, and encouragement. For someone with this language, words are everything. They are the ultimate validation. Imagine your partner coming home after a completely exhausting, stressful day at work. For them, a sincere, totally unprompted, "I'm so proud of how you handle that," or "I really appreciate everything you do for us," carries absolutely massive emotional weight. It can literally turn their entire day around. Words build them up and make them feel securely loved.
But what if words just kind of feel empty to your partner? Talk is cheap to them. That's where acts of service comes into play. For some people, actions speak way louder than words. This means showing love by thoughtfully doing tasks and gestures that help meet your partner's needs. If this is their language, waking up early to quietly do the dishes, taking their car to get the oil changed without them even having to ask, or running a tedious errand, that's the ultimate proof of love. It's a silent but incredibly powerful way of saying, "I love you." Action is exactly how they feel secure and cared for. Now, I actually found the concept of receiving gifts super interesting in the source material, mostly because it's not about materialism or price tags at all. Actually, scratch that. It's really about the tangible proof that you are actively thinking of them. It is the visible symbol of your thought and effort. So it could be something as simple as bringing them their favorite cup of coffee on a random Tuesday morning, or picking up a small, really cheap souvenir from a work trip. It's the whole thought process behind that physical token that proves they were on your mind, even when you weren't together.
Moving on to quality time. For this language, the ultimate expression of care is investing your time into sharing experiences and offering your absolute undivided attention. And let's be real, in our modern hyper-connected world, this is becoming increasingly rare and profoundly impactful. It means actually putting away the phones, shutting the laptop, and leaving the distractions in another room. For someone who values quality time, looking them in the eye and offering your pure presence is the highest form of intimacy. True connection only happens for them when you are fully there.
Finally, we have physical touch. And the source makes it really clear that this goes way beyond just sexual intimacy. It focuses on fostering a deep physiological sense of security and connection through physical closeness. We're talking a hand on the shoulder as you walk by, holding hands while you're out running errands, a lingering hug, or honestly just intentionally sitting close together on the couch while watching a movie. It's a physical reassurance of your presence that anchors them in the feeling that they are deeply loved and safe.
All right, on to section 3. Bypassing communication barriers. So we know the languages now, but where does the friction actually happen? Why do we still struggle? The source uses this brilliant metaphor that honestly just hits the nail on the head. Trying to love someone in the wrong language is literally like speaking French to someone who only understands Japanese. It's such a perfect analogy. Just think about it. No matter how good your intentions are or how hard you're trying to communicate your affection, if the languages don't match, your message of love gets completely lost in translation. You're out there working overtime, pouring energy into the relationship, and they still feel unloved simply because they cannot process the language you are speaking. Let's look at a real-world scenario to see how we can actively bypass these barriers. Imagine buying a beautiful, expensive gift for someone whose primary language is actually quality time. You put in the effort, you spend the money, but the connection totally misses the mark. You end up feeling super unappreciated because your effort wasn't celebrated, and they end up feeling ignored because all they really wanted was just 15 minutes of your time. But what happens when you actively choose to match their language? Imagine skipping the gift, putting your phone away, and just offering your undivided attention to that same partner. Boom. Immediate connection. The friction just dissolves. By identifying your partner's specific language and expressing affection in the way that means the most to them, you completely bypass those communication barriers and significantly deepen your bond.
And finally, section 4, navigating friction with radar. Let's be completely realistic for a second. Even with the very best translation tools and a total understanding of love languages, friction is absolutely still going to happen. We all get tired, we get stressed, and we slip up. That's where the text introduces this highly actionable tool for ongoing relationship maintenance, and it's called Radar. It's a quick 3-step process for the heat of the moment. Step 1 is reflect. You literally step back and ask, okay, what am I feeling right now? It creates a crucial pause between what's happening and how you react. Step 2 is describe. Name your inner reality using honest, non-judgmental words. So instead of throwing an accusation like, you never listened to me, you say, I am feeling really dismissed right now. It totally diffuses the defensiveness. And step 3 is respond. Because you paused and described it, you can now take intentional action instead of just reacting on autopilot. The Radar tool empowers you to own your feelings and communicate them clearly. It turns a potential blow-up into a moment of mindful awareness and genuine connection. I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to really chew on. What is your partner's true love language? And have you just been speaking your own this whole time? It's a tough, challenging thing to ask ourselves, isn't it? But man, that is exactly where the real growth happens. I challenge you to apply these frameworks to your own relationships starting today. Figure out their language, actively practice speaking it, rely on the Radar tool when the inevitable friction hits, and just watch how it transforms your connection. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Stay focused and keep learning.